Hello, everyone. I'm here in Dallas with the new co-host, Breanna.
Hi, everyone.
I never thought I'd be in Dallas or starting the podcast again with you, but you should be familiar to our audience because we did our 40th episode with you on online dating. And then you're also our most active Discord member. And that was why I decided to bring you on to be the new co-host for Silent Generation.
I'm super excited to be here.
So before we get started, I think we can talk about Dallas a little bit. So how long have you been living here?
I've been living here for a little over 3 years, like right after graduation.
And have you liked it?
It's been pretty cool. Yeah, like honestly, Dallas is kind of underrated. It has a lot of stuff going on in the arts and like culture that people don't really know about, like film festivals, fashion, TV, like stuff like that.
I've been pretty impressed with it so far. I've only been in the city about 24 hours. I'm staying downtown, and that's the majority of things I've seen. But the most impressed I've been with anything so far is the Neiman Marcus store here.
Yeah, like Neiman Marcus, if you haven't like been to one, it's kind of the ground floor of luxury department stores like in the US. The one here in Dallas is the flagship and it's really glamorous and it's been around for a long time. And if you want to see like really great archival footage of it, there's this really great Frederick Wiseman documentary called The Store, which has amazing archival footage of the OG Neiman Marcus. And we just walked around, the store for a while, and it was really fun.
Yeah, it was fun, but very dead. I was kind of surprised because, like, we went up to the fourth floor by accident, and that floor, you could get off the elevator, but there was nothing there. There were some Christmas trees in the corner, but otherwise it was like a dead liminal space.
Yeah, it was one of those like haunted liminal spaces you see on like creepypasta wikis. Like it was really scary.
Yeah. But the rest of the store is really beautiful. It's, I think, the best example of what department stores look like in their prime that I've ever seen. In Chicago, we have Macy's and some others, but that like actually felt nice. I mean, it's declining, but it still has a certain standard that it sets for itself where it does actually feel luxurious to be in there.
Yeah, it's kind of fighting for its life to stay open right now. Like it was almost like about to close, I think last year, but it got saved like barely, but it's like on the verge of closing. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it really is a time capsule.
Yeah, it makes me sad. I got to try the first ever popover I've eaten yesterday. Do you want to explain what that is?
A popover is a classic Neiman Marcus dish. It is a fluffy, pillow-like puff pastry that comes with really delicious strawberry spread.
It looks like a croissant from the outside, but on the inside it's mostly air. It like looks like it's more food than it ends up being.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious though. I've had some other good things while here. We went to this Sando place. What was it called?
Sandoichi, which is Japanese for sandwich. And they serve all these very like fluffy Japanese style sandwiches, like the ones with the fruit and the ones with just like the savory chicken and shrimp. Like it's really good.
It is, yeah. It was my second time ever having a Japanese fruit sando, which I've read about a lot in Banana Yoshimoto novels. She always makes them sound delicious. And yeah, I actually want to go back there a second time today.
Yeah. And also you had your first cowboy boot experience at Lucchese, which is like the boot place to like get your cowboy boots. Like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and like Beyonce, they all get their boots from Lucchese.
Yeah, it was fun trying them on, but I don't need boots that go up to my calves. I think I'm good. But it was a great retail experience. Like they give you free beer for some reason. Not that I have that, but
Yeah, like even there's another boot place here called Tecovas, and even they will like hand out free alcohol. Like you'll walk in and they'll be like, "Do you want a margarita?" And you're just like, "Sure."
yeah. But yeah, so far Dallas has been really fun for me. I've been enjoying it. I kind of think of Dallas and the Sun Belt as kind of being the antithesis to Chicago, and it's kind of our rival. I mean, maybe not Dallas specifically. Phoenix is more so what I think of as being a rival, but this is a city I never ever thought I'd go to as a non-driver. I'm really surprised to be here.
Yeah, and like you actually had a pretty fun experience on the trolley here, the M line trolley.
Yeah, it's like a Obama era streetcar, meaning it's like 2 or 3 miles and it has a bunch of stops. Doesn't seem like it's well used like all the other Obama era streetcars, but it was fun and it was free.
Yeah, we took it to get some Australian food, which was like I don't know, it was at this place that was technically Australian, but didn't have that many, like, Australian trappings and, like, stuff that you would think of, but they did have Marmite, like, decorating the restaurant, which was cute.
Yeah. I did like that place. I had a Malaysian curry. That was good. But yeah, now I want to ask you some questions to introduce you to the audience. So to start out, who are you? How would you give like, a brief summary of who Breanna is?
Yeah, so, I'm just a military kid, been all over. I'm, currently working as an engineer, doing some arts and business on the side. Obviously podcasting, but also lots of like writing, media writing, lots of fashion stuff on the side. I feel like my journey with Silent Generation, it mostly started like about 2 years ago, when I met Nathan and he was really, pushing the podcast to listen to. And, yeah, that's how I got into the original podcast.
Yeah. So we met through Discord initially, like a lot of friends. That's actually how I met Joseph for the first time. But, I think you share like a few similarities with him, being that you're a military brat, that you have a STEM background, also that you're involved with fashion. I mean,
Mm,
Joseph isn't involved with fashion, but he loves menswear.
mm.
Can you talk about how you're a model?
Yeah, so I've been modeling for a little over 2 years now. I mostly do runway work around Dallas because there's actually a pretty, happening runway circuit in the city, like, lots of galas here in Dallas, that take place, but also I do lots of, like, photo shoot work as well, and, yeah, it's been pretty fun so far, like, I never, when I was in college, thought that I could do that, as part of my life, but, yeah, there's lots of really great fashion, opportunities here.
And then I wanted to ask you, where did you grow up? Because I know it's been a couple of places.
Yeah, I have a really long list on the notes here. I've lived in Alabama, Virginia, Italy, Montana, Massachusetts, Copenhagen for study abroad, and now I'm in Texas.
Yeah. And you've been here for 3 years, and you actually might move to Chicago next.
Yeah, I'm actually really ready to move to Chicago. Chicago is so gorgeous to me.
And your first time ever visiting Chicago was to be a guest on our podcast for the 40th episode, Online Dating. And how was your experience seeing Chicago for the first time and being on the pod?
I thought it was pretty amazing. It was kind of crazy meeting you guys for the first time because, like, I had heard you guys for so long because I was a fan of the podcast, but like, meeting people whose voices you hear a lot is kind of crazy. And also, you guys are like much larger than I thought you would be. Like,
Yeah.
because, like, you're pretty tall. Joseph's, like, extremely tall, and it's, like, kinda shocking, like, when you first, like, meet both of you guys, but then you guys were, like, super nice and, like, you were walking around, giving me kind of an architectural tour of Chicago, which was super sweet, and that's kinda when I knew, like, this is a really cool place to live. It's like New York, but very quirky and a lot more, clean and safe, and also I loved seeing the really fabulous studio you guys record in, and then also the amazing paintings at the museum there, like Nighthawks and American Gothic and The Wave, like really amazing paintings at the art museum there. And also, I had my first Michelin restaurant experience where I went to this really fabulous restaurant for my cousin who lives in Chicago, and it was so much fun, and it was probably some of the best food I've had, like, ever in the States, and the Chicago style pizza was really fun to try, like, I experienced so much, and I was like, "I love it here."
Yeah. I had a good time showing you around. And you came back actually last summer for a bit too. Our third episode, or second one, technically, episode 105, we're going to talk about dinner parties and talk about that a bit too. But yeah, you felt inspired enough to come back less than a year later.
Yeah, I had to. I had to see those fireworks.
Yeah. So you're already on Substack where you analyze culture. I wanted to ask you about what you do on your Substack, Labyrinth of Art.
Right. So on Labyrinth of Art, it's mostly film and media analysis with a bit of aesthetics discussion as well. I try to take a more unique approach than the more common approach I see when it comes to film analysis and reviews that I see online. I wanted to bring a different lens to it. So I talk about meta narratives, things like, adaptations and how reality and adaptation intersects with film. So, like, my Dog Day Afternoon analysis is kind of about that. I also talk about neurodivergence and cinephile
Mhm.
culture. I talk about a lot of life stuff on my podcast where I talk more about like travel, life experiences, foodie things, fashion. Talk about like, the just the current state of travel, do lots of like haul videos, travel vlogs. I also have a TikTok where I talk way more about foodie stuff, and I'll also post a lot of Silent Generation content there as well.
Yeah, we'll put links in the show notes to your Substack, your TikTok, things like that, so people can go and check them out. But I'm excited to have someone on who's good at talking about film because that's one of my weakest areas. I've joked on the pod a lot about how I have lowbrow taste in film, so it's going to be helpful for you to bring that in. The last movie I actually saw in theaters was Avatar 3.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, I thought you had seen Marty's Supreme when you said you saw a movie, and you're like, "No, it's Avatar."
It was so bad. I should have known better, but I'm glad that you like know better films that you can reference when we're doing research for the pod. And I wanted to ask you about what other lenses you might have because Joseph and I we shared a couple like urbanism, architecture, American history, but I had some of my own, he had some of his own, and you will too. So what are some of the lenses you like to use to analyze culture?
Well, other than film, like, as I mentioned, film was one of my majors in school, but other than that, lots of, like, media tropes also are some of my favorite interests. Like, TV tropes was one of my favorite websites as a kid because I just love seeing how media and culture kind of intersect. I also love, as I said, fashion, so things like high fashion and a lot of the histories there. I have an encyclopedic knowledge of models for some reason, so if that comes up, that'll be useful. Also, foodie stuff, as we're going to talk about in our future episodes about food. I have lots of interest in fine dining. Also, I love music, especially hip hop, because, interestingly, my mom grew up in Brooklyn around the time that like hip hop was
Mm,
becoming a thing and like being created, which is kind of crazy. And so I have a lot of knowledge about hip hop history and also technology since one of my other majors was computer science. So I have a good amount of knowledge about computing history, anything technical. Obviously, aesthetics is one of my big interests, especially like shoe diva.
yeah.
Also, I'm really into business as I'm a business owner. So things that are business related, I also am really into. So yeah, a lot of interest.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you bring into the podcast. And now I think we can kind of address what Silent Generation is going to look like moving forward. So I think with you, I'm going to be able to talk about some topics that are a little bit more girl coded because, me and Joseph, we like to explore masculinity. And we went through a lot of the ideas I had in regards to that. But on my ideas list, the topics that were a bit more girl coded, like say Flaptropica, I didn't think Joseph and I could really pull them off, but I think with you I can. So I'm excited to finally get around to those.
Also, there will be a sequel to the fraternities episode.
Yeah, that's going to be one of our like ones we do in the next like month or two. So it's going to come out soon. And then I think we're going to do fewer urbanism topics together. I will still have urbanism as a lens. I'll use that to apply to plenty of things, but I got through a lot of the ones that I wanted to do with Joseph. So for the time being, that'll be sidelined a bit, but it'll still be something that comes through here and there. And then another thing, the podcast is going to be switched to being virtual up until you move to Chicago, which will hopefully be in a few months, but we don't really know when that might be.
Yes, if anyone knows any company in Chicago that wants an engineer, refer me.
Yeah. But for the time being, we'll have to do it through Zoom or maybe even Discord. We have to figure out exactly how we record it because, yeah, we're going to have a little bit different of a workflow, but it's still going to continue to be weekly. So, still the same amount of effort and output, but The first 7 episodes we do together will be free, and then the 101st one that we publish, that one will be the first private one, and then we'll go back to it where, like, every 2 or 3 episodes end up being a Patreon exclusive.
And also, we have a third co-host that we won't say too much about right now, but he has a lot of the same interests that were prominent in the OG Silent Generation iteration. So things like urbanism, architecture, the Midwest, a lot of like fashion and menswear. So, that'll be kind of a way to get back to the roots of the original show once he's on.
Yeah. It's just, doing things virtually is a little bit harder. It's much easier to record in person, which is why I'm here in Dallas right now. But yeah, I want to wait till you move there to then onboard him. And he won't be like as regular. It's going to be more of like a sub situation, but I'm excited to work with him because I think that the first version of Silent Generation was the thesis. The one we're about to start now, this is the launch, it's 2.0. It's kind of an antithesis in a way. We're going to see exactly how that pans out. But then once he gets onboarded, that'll be kind of the synthesis period. And do you know that cycle, thesis, antithesis, synthesis?
No, I actually just learned about it from you. It's Hegelian.
Yeah, Hegelian dialectics. I don't know a ton about him, but this is one of those things from critical theory that like more average people know about. I mean, I studied critical theory in college, but it's not like I ever actually read Hegel. But basically, it's just ideas when they're introduced will follow that cycle, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. And that might end up being what happens with the podcast. But for the time being, what I end up doing with you, I'm okay with straying farther from our roots, exploring new concepts, seeing if it goes in a new direction. We'll see exactly how it pans out.
Yep, and we're actually about to record 2 more episodes right after this. So we're going to record 2 more on this very same day. So we're really excited, and we can't wait for you to hear them.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye, everyone.